Afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today for our Maximise Your Membership session. We are going to record the session, so you won't need to take any notes or worry about anything like that. We're just waiting for the people to come in through the virtual doorway, and then we'll get started. Brilliant. Lovely to see you today. The purpose of this session is to tell you a little bit about the benefits so that you actually get the most of them. And now that's whether you are an FSB member or whether you're thinking of joining FSB, or maybe you've recently joined and you're not too sure whether you're getting the most out of your membership, or perhaps you've been a member for years and you've forgotten just what the benefits are, because there really are so many of them. My name's Ness Gale, and I work for the FSB as an operational support coordinator. And I'm going to be your host today. We've got a great panel of people, which I will introduce you to shortly. Just to give you a little bit of information, did you know that FSB is the biggest member business group in the UK? We have a unique online research community called Big Voice. If you're a member, you can take part in Big Voice. It's the place where our members can have their say on behalf of small businesses. Our Big Voice surveys are on topics of significance to all the small businesses and the self-employed, and they really do make a difference. They are listened to by government, local authorities, all various stakeholders. So if you're a member, do have a go and join in with our Big Voice surveys. You'll really help make a difference to small businesses. What I'm going to do first of all is just to let you know that the chat box isn't working today. We haven't turned it on. But if you do have questions, please put them into the Q&A box, which should be at the bottom of your screen. And towards the end of the session, we allow about 15 minutes so that we go through all of the questions. So please add your questions in the box. So without further ado, I'd just like to introduce our panelists, and they are going to tell you a little bit about what they do for the FSB. But just to let you know, we've got Candy Richards, who is a development manager for East Anglia. We've got Rajan Naran, who is FSB sales manager for the South West and London. And we've got James Cordiner from our tax investigation team at Markel Tax. We're also going to be supported today throughout the webinar by Beth Dole, who is managing all the technical aspects. So first of all, perhaps if you could just all take a minute for our panelists just to give us just a brief intro as to what they do for the FSB. So first of all, Candy, if you wouldn't mind just introducing yourself.
Absolutely. Thanks for the great introduction. So my name's Candy Richards and I'm a development manager at FSB. And you're probably thinking, what is a development manager? Well, there's lots of me working across the UK, and we're essentially your local point of contact at FSB. So if you have questions around local business support, be that grants or events or opportunities to get involved in, you can reach out to me or your local development manager. We also work closely with the media, with stakeholders like local councils, universities and colleges, and also help run lots of events across our areas as well. But I think a little bit later on, I'm going to probably talk a little bit more in depth about the development manager's role at FSB and how it can benefit you as a business owner. So I'll hand over to our next guest to introduce themselves.
Thanks ever so much, Candy. Yeah, we're definitely going to hear lots more about your role because it really is a crucial role for FSB. Next, please, Rajan, if you wouldn't mind just letting people know what you do.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Ness. My name's Rajan Naran. I've been with the FSB now for 5.5 years. My role within the business is to support the membership advisors, so some of the people that have joined the members up, the guys that attend the shows, the guys support networking events. I also work instrumentally with Ness and the development team. So when we've got policy issues or we have strategies for certain towns and boroughs, we'll be working hand in hand with that. So not only supporting the membership advisors, but obviously supporting members as well. And that's me.
Thanks very much, Rajan. James, next.
Yes, Ness, thanks very much for the invitation once again. As Ness has said, I'm James Cordiner. I am an ex-inspector of taxes, but don't switch off quite yet, please. I moved over from the dark side about 19 years ago now, and now head up the tax investigations team here at Markel Tax. So we've been providing support and assistance to FSB members for more than 25 years now. So it's been a great relationship during that time. So all the tax consultants on my team come from a revenue background, HMRC background, or inland revenue, as it was back in my day. So we had many years in the department, which gives us the experience, the expertise, and know-how and that insight really, when you're dealing with HMRC in relation to a tax investigation or inquiry or compliance check, to use the up-to-date terminology that HMRC tend to use. So we've all been there, we've all been on that other side and done it, so to speak, which is invaluable really when dealing with this area. I'm happy to take any questions, during the event today. Happy to share my contact details for any follow-up, if you want to contact me separately, and you can find me quite easily on LinkedIn if you want to connect with me in that way. So thanks for now. At this point, I will hand back to Ness. Thank you.
Thanks very much, James. And I know we're going to hear a lot more about the tax investigation, aren't we, later on? And lastly, but by no means leastly, please can we say hello to Beth, who is doing all our support today?
Hi, I'm Beth. I'm a operational support coordinator, same as Ness, and our role is a myriad of things, such as event support, like I'm doing now. We do socials, marketing, member queries, signposting, and any other operational support, particularly for DMs. So I cover Hampshire, Dorset, Isle of Wight, Somerset and Wiltshire in my role, and there's others of me around the country doing the same.
Great, thank you very much, all of you. Okay, well, Rajan, if you wouldn't mind kicking off today by giving us an overview of some of the key benefits of membership.
Absolutely. Thanks very much, Ness. So hopefully we have a number of members on board today. And what I'm hoping to do is, rather than give you a PowerPoint presentation or anything like that, it's really just to talk about some of the benefits that are there, even if you're not a member. Because we've got a hub online which is really based around you to help you as a business owner, not just as an FSB member. So if you were to go to the FSB website, fsb.org.uk, the first hub that you will see will be called the Knowledge Hub. Now, this is an intricate part of any type of business, whether you're starting out, whether you're going through the middle and you're looking at how you get funding, whether you're looking at how tax is worked out for different countries Europeanly. All of this information is actually on that hub. There's videos on there, there's how-to guides, there's testimonials from people that have done it already. But I really, really do encourage everyone to actually go and have a look at that hub. It's going to give you some basics in there, but a lot of information. So wherever you are in your part of business, so whether you're looking to grow, sustain, or even reduce, it's actually going to give you a lot of helpful advice. And as I mentioned, that is available to non-members as well as members. With the membership itself, there's another free service that's actually there that most people have actually never really thought of. And that's actually with regard to our insurance service. The insurance, yes, is assurance where it does your business insurance and so on and so forth. But you need to be registered to actually ascertain all the other benefits that they would offer on that. So when we talk about these benefits, you're talking, as I mentioned, a full brokerage service. So it's obviously offering you your business insurance, your advice line, and so on and so forth. But then it also gives you free business continuity planning. It gives you a kit bag that you can actually work with. There's an online valuation indicator, so you can actually see what the value of your business is. Looking forward, you can actually ascertain that for other businesses, because they offer you 10 free business annual health checks. So credit checks when we're looking into the business you're looking to do business with. And then you've got risk analysis available in there, and obviously the business insurance policies. So all of that is over and above what insurance is really about. It's the one thing that you think of once a year, 3 months before the renewal, and you go around and you scramble around for that. These things are additional to that service, but you need to be registered. So if you're not registered already, just go onto your legal hub, go onto your app, click onto the insurance document there, and you should have a tick box that you'll be able to do. If for any reason you don't have that, please just contact myself or your membership advisor, who will literally need 2 minutes to do it and update your file. That is one thing that I think everyone out there is forgetting about, that they need to be registered. So please, I encourage you all to register, get the information. You don't know what you don't know. So allow us to actually help you learn a few things more. The last bit, or the main bit I think I wanted to talk about today, which is a little bit left field for us, Ness, is actually training. We took on a partner for skills training, which actually offers CPD courses, 650 courses that are available in there. So even if you are a sole trader, this is giving you an option to upskill. So I think the cost is £80, and you have access to all of those courses. So if you want updates on something as simple as Excel, on Word, on PowerPoint, how to present better, it's there. It's there. You can be certified. You can actually get a few more qualifications under your belt. If it's a case that you are in a business and you, for example, warehouse, so you're going to need your forklift drivers tested and trained and updated every year, these are sort of costs are actually a fraction of what you're paying currently. I've got a member of mine that was with a company called HireMech in London, and they were spending in excess of £6,000 a year for the 5 staff members to get qualified. They've done that for £80 a piece. So the cost is humongously different. They are online courses, but they also offer a face-to-face training service as well. So again, it's something that I would register yourselves with. Try and find out a little bit more about it. At this moment in time, upskilling is probably the most important thing you can do for your business. Sharpen those tools. Just make sure that you're really kind of accurate with them. And with regard to the other aspects of FSB, if you don't know, pick up the phone. There's no such thing as a silly question. If you don't have a membership advisor's number directly because they didn't join you up, you've got the call center number. I will put my number and my email address in the details in the contact box. Be more than happy to signpost anyone any which way they can. The benefit that you're going to hear from my colleagues today is really where the nuts and bolts come in. We join members and we show them what we can do. But what you guys do as members impacts everything they do, especially the development team, who without them, we would literally be, powerless, because the lobbying work that they do locally and nationally is paired up with what we do out there. So I'm hopeful that gave you a little bit of an insight, but the Knowledge Hub, register yourself for the insurance and have a look at those training courses, because there is so much in there. You can truly do whatever you so wish out there. Thanks, Ness.
Thanks, Rajan. And there are hundreds of those training courses, aren't there, for the £80? So people can just...
There is an awful lot. There's a lot that are focused via industry. There's a lot that are generic that you're just going to need in every business.
Yeah.
The idea is to upskill yourself, your staff, that means your staff retention is better. You're going to be able to promote people more. And hence, that means that you're going to have a healthy environment to do business in, which is what we're all looking for, surely.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Can I just ask you quickly, it's just something that's on my mind, because my husband's just been called for jury service, which is really unusual because neither of us has ever been called for jury service. And it just prompted me to remind me that I think FSB do something to cover people, do they?
Absolutely. So your FSB insurance and your FSB membership gives you, as long as you register, it allows you to get a minimum of £250 a day. Wow. It's up to a maximum of £2,500 per day at jewellery service, which is a reimbursement for you because obviously you're going to have loss of earnings and so on. So, I mean, the insurance policy goes far and wide. It's just a factor that, as everyone says, it really truly is that glove around your business. Any kind of issue that you have, you just need to pick up the phone, just get it active. But yes, thanks for reminding me about that one for sure.
Well, only because it was on my mind and I'd heard about it, because I think you only get about £60 a day from, the
Correct. Correct. Ours is far different.
When you're running your own business, it's nothing.
Yeah. I mean, funny enough, when you look at some of the comments on Trustpilot, you've actually seen a number of the members weren't even aware of it.
No, exactly.
I'm so thankful for it because, again, a graphic designer is probably earning £300-400 a day.
Yeah.
So, as you just said, £80 a day doesn't really cut it. It doesn't really support them. So they were very happy to see that, we were able to support them on their behalf.
Yeah, lovely. Thank you. And we are going to hear from Rajan again, aren't we? When you're going to talk a little bit more about the legal hub and the stuff that we provide there.
Yeah.
And talking about things that you hope would never happen, but you have some kind of cover. We'll go over now to James, who's going to talk about our tax investigation service.
Okay, thanks, Ness. So I appreciate the invite once again. Interesting what Rajan was just saying there. You have benefits that you don't know you've got, or you hope you might never need. Certainly, the tax investigation cover as part of the FSB membership is something that is really valuable, and it is something that comes up from time to time where I speak to FSB members who didn't actually know that they have access to the benefits. So it is important to be aware of the benefits, and today is really just an awareness piece as much as anything to make everyone aware that you do have access to to that particular benefit. So my focus is very much on tax investigation side. It's my area. Spent my whole career in tax, I have to say, and I can't cover everything in the next 5 minutes or so, but I'm going to speak a bit about the what you get as access to in terms of the tax investigation side of things. So I mentioned earlier on, my team on the tax side all comes from a revenue background. So we've got that inside track on the inquiry process. We know how HMRC operate tactically, and we can give you the right support and assistance, if and when you need that. We pride ourselves in giving honest, very straightforward advice when it comes to dealing with these matters. We're always looking to get the best possible outcome for the member, in the circumstances that they're having to face. We know that an HMRC inquiry can be very, very stressful. It's also very time consuming. These things are generally not a quick process. The average length of a full inquiry is probably 18 to 24 months, but inquiries can last for a lot longer than going for a number of years, depending on the situation, and that can happen even when there is nothing wrong. Before I cover the member benefit in a bit more detail, I just want to kick off with a few topical areas of concern that HMRC are looking at this time. So I've spent a lot of this year dealing with R&D inquiries. That's been very much a hot topic for HMRC over the last certainly 12 to 18 months, and that's carrying on as I sit here now. So lots of inquiries into R&D claims, so that's something that we're spending a lot of time on. Still inquiries into the furlough schemes, the CJRS scheme that was brought in, going back to 2020 during COVID times, lockdown times. So there's still a lot of inquiries into that claims that were made. just to check the accuracy of those claims. And in the same way, the self-employed income support scheme grants that were paid as well. So we're still seeing a lot of activity in those areas. And again, that's an area that we can give help and support on. Online trading, very topical, very modern way of doing business. HMRC are very wise to that, and they get a lot of information in relation to online activity. They've got access to a lot of information, which helps when it comes to reviewing cases for inquiry. So again, that's an area that they're spending a lot of time focusing on. And finally, just at this point, so capital allowances, business asset disposal relief are a couple of specific types of relief that you can claim when you're in business. And again, HMRC has spent a bit of time looking at those. So that's just a bit of a snapshot really of some of the areas that HMRC spend their time on. Now, I've mentioned that most HMRC inquiries are risk-based. They gather a lot of information from a wide variety of sources, and that information is utilised to select cases for inquiry where it's perceived that there may be a risk in terms of the income that's been declared. Now, it doesn't mean they get everything right. Some of that information does come with a health warning, but it's information that certainly wasn't there when you go back 15, 20 years. So it's a lot more focused than it used to be. That said, HMRC will still conduct a certain level of random inquiries on an annual basis. So nobody is really exempt from an inquiry. There's always a possibility that HMRC might come knocking. So I'm going to mention three specific areas, or three areas where I think it brings out the value of this particular member benefit. First of all, it's a representational scheme. So under the terms of the policy, we are the appointed rep. We, as in Markel Tax. So I work for Markel Tax. As I say, the team are all ex-revenue. We're the appointed rep, for dealing with an inquiry or a VAT dispute. And this means that we deal directly with HMRC on your behalf, liaising with yourself and your accountant as needs be. So once appointed, we'll touch base with HMRC to confirm our involvement with the appropriate authority. And we provide, really an important buffer between yourself and HMRC during the process. We keep you informed, up to date throughout the inquiry as to what the progress is, and that allows you to focus on the day-to-day running of your business, which is obviously important. And we try to minimise the disruption in that area. If there are any meetings needed, and HMRC have very much embraced the virtual world when it comes to meetings. There's not so many face-to-face meetings as there used to be. But if they do ask for a meeting, we would be in attendance at that meeting. We would also give the appropriate advice, because you're not actually obliged to attend a meeting with HMRC, which isn't always known, when it comes to what your rights are. So we can advise you the benefits of attending a meeting or not. We'll always seek to establish the facts of your case and respond to HMRC inquiries accordingly within the relevant deadlines. It's always important. Every inquiry should be focused on the facts, irrespective of any preconceived ideas by HMRC. So as I said earlier, just to summarise on this point on the representational aspects, our role is to minimise the impact of the inquiry on you and your business as much as is possible. We'll provide a robust defence where this is needed, and address any issues that may arise with a view to minimising your exposure to any additional liability and potentially penalties as well. So just to highlight the benefit, point two, I was going to mention the value of the benefit. So the reality is that even if when you keep good records, some might say perfect records, you can still be selected for a review, as I've mentioned earlier on. Now, the costs of that defence of the review by HMRC can run into thousands of pounds on average. I would say probably about £5,000 is the cost of an inquiry dealing with HMRC. Now, your FSB policy covers you up to £100,000 per claim, so there's no need to worry about the financial impact of any fees to assist you in the inquiry process. I'd always recommend that you notify your claim to the FSB as soon as possible. It's much better for us to be involved, in the inquiry from the off, really. As soon as you get that initial letter, I think is the best time to make the notification and we can get involved and represent and assist, during that process. That said, excuse me, there have been occasions when we've got involved with FSB member cases that have been rumbling on for maybe a couple of years. We've still managed to get involved in those cases and have a successful outcome. In one particular case, it was right at the 11th hour, really, where the client was facing a tax bill, tax and VAT plus interest and penalties of about $250,000, and we managed to get rid of that altogether because HMRC effectively were barking up the wrong tree. So we managed to resolve that with a very positive outcome for the member, which was great to achieve, given the circumstances. So, but it's much better to be involved earlier rather than later, is the point I would make. And most incidents are covered, but as you would expect, there are certain exclusions, within the policy. But if in doubt, again, to repeat what was said earlier, if in doubt, make the contact with the FSB directly, and we can clarify, they would refer it on to us, we can clarify the policy cover situation. But I would always recommend any communication with HMRC that you check the position with, the FSB and the terms of the cover, first of all. Thirdly, and most importantly, I would probably say this is a free service. There is no charge, for the service, and there's no catch to that. You get the benefit of our expertise absolutely free. And it makes no difference to us. We deal with a wide variety of investigations within Markel. Doesn't matter whether it's an insured case such as FSB or consultancy work that we do separately as well. You're treated absolutely in the same way and get the best of our expertise in handling the inquiry. If you are a VAT registered business, you will get a VAT only invoice at the end of the inquiry because we're required to do that by HMRC, but obviously you can claim that cost back in your next VAT return. So there is absolutely no net cost to you. We'll also cover any reasonable costs for your accountant to assist in any areas where we need their input, and providing those fees are authorised and agreed in advance. We'll be happy to cover those costs as well, because obviously we didn't prepare the accounts or the tax return, so we do at times need some assistance, from your accountant.
James, could I just ask, we can also offer advice even if they've got an ongoing claim? Is that right? They can still seek advice from us if they have a claim that's started prior to their membership?
Yes, if they've had an inquiry that's already commenced, yes. Even at the point of joining, obviously, if it's a pre-existing, incident, that wouldn't be covered. But that doesn't stop them from approaching us for advice. They could get advice for free via the helpline, via my team as well. And if they wanted more hands-on input, and representation, we can certainly deal with that as well. Yes, absolutely, Raj.
Thank you for that. I just thought that.
No, it's a good point. So thank you. I was just going to sum up really by saying when there is a tax investigation, VAT dispute, it's not something that you're looking for, but these things do happen in life. Especially obviously when you're in business. So at Markel, we like to think we give you the best support and representation that you can get. I'd strongly recommend that you have a chat with us and utilize the service that's available. Just a couple of final points. I'm not sure where I am on time, Ness. I know I tend to run over a little bit. Just very, very briefly, it would be remiss of me not to mention that as an FSB member, you do have access to a tax and VAT advice lines. Now that's a separate team or teams to my own team on the investigation side, but that's free access to those lines. It's part of the legal cover. So the tax and VAT advice lines operate on a office hours basis, Monday to Friday. You've got 24/7 access to the legal advice lines. I'm sure Rajan will probably mention that in a bit more detail, but they deal with a wide variety of areas on the legal side: property disputes, employment law, and such like. So those helplines, again, are a valuable service to members, and I'd really encourage you to take advantage of what you get as part of your membership, or if you're not an FSB member already, something really to consider, because the fundamentally the cost of joining the FSB, what you get back from it. And I fully appreciate people, will join for a wide variety of reasons. And sometimes you're not fully aware of all the member benefits that you get. But, as I said earlier on, this is as much as anything is just to ensure. I would hate to think there's an FSB member on the call who's going through an investigation or a dispute with HMRC and not realising, that they've got access to that support and assistance. And on that note, I appreciate your time. Thank you for listening. And I will hand back to Ness at this point. Thank you, Ness.
Thank you so much, James. And it strikes me that is absolutely invaluable. Having that reassurance will help people sleep at night, won't it? Because, dealing with a tax investigation is really scary and costly, as you said, up to £5,000. That's really worrying. So having that, and I'm also aware that some of our members pay extra for tax investigation insurance through their accountants, and actually they don't need to because we've totally got it covered. So there's no need to pay extra for it, is there really?
Yeah, I'd just say on that point because yes, there is that option, and it comes down to what your preference is really. If you're paying for cover through your own accountant, and you want them to deal with the inquiry, then that's absolutely fine. I appreciate that. For an FSB member to be dealing with one of my team who they don't know, they've got no history with. They may want to prefer to deal with somebody else. But, I've been doing this, as I say, for nigh on 20 years. We have that initial conversation with the member. And I like to think on the back of that conversation, they're confident that, we know what we're doing and we're on their side. But it is a matter of choice, obviously, as to how you want to go. But if you are an FSB member, it's that awareness that you do have access to that. Yeah. And if nothing else, have the conversation with us. And
absolutely.
At that point. Okay.
Lovely. Thank you so much. Thank you, James and Rajan. And we will be going back to Rajan in a moment. But just before we do that, it's all very well us telling you that FSB is brilliant and all the benefits are brilliant. But let's hear a little bit from some of our members and let's see what they've got to say. You may not be aware that FSB has a Trustpilot page and we have been rated excellent. If you want to read any of our reviews, now, obviously, we have got a couple that aren't so good, but we are rated excellent and the vast majority of our reviews are really good. And it's not really so much about getting the good reviews anyway. It's if you get a bad review and there's an issue, it's how you deal with it, isn't it? But the feedback from members is great. If you wanted to look for yourself or if you wanted to add a review on anything, good or bad, we really would love to hear from you. You can find the FSB Trustpilot page just by searching FSB Trustpilot and it will come up. So I thought I'd tell you a few reviews that we've had recently. And again, if you want to, you can look these up for yourself. So somebody has said that FSB is the most worthwhile membership any business owner can have, which is lovely to hear. Having rejoined, the services, support and protection they offer is all you need, not to mention the cost savings. Policies, staff contracts, templates easy to download, which we're going to see shortly when Rajan has a look at the Legal Hub. Somebody else has said our membership will, I think, result in a much greater financial saving than it will cost. In addition, it will provide immediate access to a very extensive database of relevant information, which Rajan mentioned before. I've been an FSB member for many years. I'm so appreciative of the support and services I've had access to. As a sole trader, I feel membership is vital to the continued success of my work. The resources available and the value obtained in the annual membership is incredible. Thank you, FSB. Here's a review from a new member. I've just become an FSB member. I wish I'd joined 14 years ago when I'd first started my business. I'm amazed at the help and information that's available in all aspects of owning a business. Some of the many benefits include insurance, legal advice, money-saving offers, healthcare for staff. It's a no-brainer for me. I'll be a member as long as I have a business. What a lovely review that one was. So nice to hear. This one is a really interesting one. I find it unfathomable that another small business would choose to deliberately not pay our invoice. We tried the polite, friendly reminder approach and nothing. However, as an FSB member with access to FSB legal resources, I was able to use a formal template letter to help me. Whilst there was no further communication from the business owner and no apology, in less than an hour, the invoice was paid. Thank you, FSB. And that's the kind of clout that FSB has. We can really help with late payments, which is a real bugbear of ours and something that we constantly ask government to look into. Just the final one that I want to tell you before I pass over to our development manager Candy. This is a review. I've just had a meeting from Alison Turner, development manager in Sussex. She was absolutely fantastic. 5 pages of notes. Alison provided me with clear and actionable advice that will really help me improve and grow my business. If you are a member of FSB, I'd highly recommend you seek support. This has really boosted my confidence. Alison is really knowledgeable and has a wealth of experience, which proved invaluable. So that really segues really nicely into introducing Candy Richards, who is another of our development managers. And as Candy said earlier, there are development managers for you up and down the country. So you'll be able to find your local point of contact. Candy.
Thanks, Ness. Really great review for Alison. And you know, I've worked closely with Alison, so I can absolutely understand why someone would think she was so brilliant. So I'm conscious that we're counting down in terms of time now. So I'm going to sort of try and keep my little bit as brief as I can. So at FSB, I think what a lot of people say to me is the amazing thing about the organisation is it is really grassroots. So you feel that you're part of something amazing, and that actually as a small business owner, it gives you the ability to really have a voice. And I think the great thing about FSB is you can be as hands-on as you want. You can get involved in lobbying MPs, campaigning, helping shape what we lobby on as an organisation. You can take part in media opportunities, or you can pay your membership fee and then use some of the amazing services and you know, just keep the relationship like that. So you can get as involved as you want. So as a development manager, we work closely with our members as that sort of first point of contact, really. So if I'll probably ask you to put your hands up, but obviously we can't see the people on the webinar, but I'd probably like to guess that a lot of people watching today don't understand about the business support available to them locally or the grants available. And that's because if you're not on the right mailing list, you know, through your growth hub, your local authority, or your local enterprise partnership, you're probably completely unaware that there are some grants available to help you grow your business. You might not be aware of other events that are happening or changes in policy in local government, for example, county deals or the dissolution of the LEP. So that all sounds quite jargony, but to simplify that, we are your eyes and ears. So if you want to find out about funding available, programs of support, you can just reach out to your local development manager. You can have a meeting with us or we'll pop and see you. But essentially, we can give you that information about what there is to support you locally that it might be difficult to access through other means. If you have local issues that might be impacting your business, for example, I had a member today who reached out to me who's being impacted by roadworks and people don't understand that they can still visit his premises. Again, we can support you to reach out to the right organisations to try and get that issue solved. And to give you that support that often you need when you're, you know, a busy business owner running your business and struggling to find time to deal with some of those wider issues as well. We're also responsible for putting on events across the areas that we manage. So for me, I manage Norfolk and Suffolk, and I put on networking events or webinars. I work in partnership with members or organisations like the Growth Hub to put on events to help business owners come together. And I think businesses really benefit from that, because there's that element of getting some peer support. But also, if you're working in a B2B sector, then actually that's a great way to start doing business and growing your business connections. Now, on our website, we have an events page, and you can actually filter those events by region. So it's always worth, I would say, every week, just logging on for a couple of minutes, look on the events page, see what's happening in your local area. And actually, if you think there's a really good need for a particular kind of event that we're not putting on, again, reach out to your development manager, because we are your eyes and ears, but we're also really there to listen to what actually you need as a business owner, to always reach out to us. And if there's not an event that you think could work really well, let us know and we'll see what we can do. What else do we do? So I told you, Ness, we wear a lot of hats. So we work really closely with our colleagues up in Westminster, who are our policy team, our public affairs team, and our media team. So how do we do that? So we might be campaigning on specific issues. So, for example, next week we have the autumn statement, and there's a number of things that we're campaigning on, such as business rates. So we reach out to our members and we ask them, you know, what is impacting you on running your business? What can government do differently or better? And then we get that feedback and we share it with our teams who are having those meetings with ministers, with civil servants who are really standing up for small businesses. And sometimes our members might come to a round table and meet an MP, or they might come up to Westminster, or they might get involved in shaping our policies. And that's a really great opportunity to actually have a voice that can be so difficult if you're running a small business. And we also do a lot of work in the media as well. So now that I've said this, you'll probably see FSB popping up on the telly or in the newspaper all the time. So the media reaches out to us, rightly so, as a voice of business, when they want to find out, you know, how are small businesses feeling? What can be done to better support small businesses? And the way that we, I suppose, make sure that small businesses stay in the spotlight is sometimes we'll go and speak to the media. So I might go and speak to the team up in, you know, in BBC Look East or ITV Anglia or the EDP. But we also get our members as well to get involved in media interviews. Some of you, again, you'll probably be feeling quite horrified and think, oh no, please don't approach me to come and be on the TV. But actually, for other business owners, they really want to be an advocate for fellow small business owners, or actually they can see the benefit for their business. So you've got a real opportunity, again, by engaging with your development manager to say, actually, if there are media inquiries, I would like to speak out. I would like to be interviewed and talk about the reality of running a business, the reality of interest rate rises, inflation, staffing shortages, or maybe you've actually got a good news story, because we're always on the lookout for good news stories, particularly in this current climate. So again, like I said, Ness, probably at the beginning, you know, you can be as hands-on with your membership, or, you know, take a back seat if that's better for you in your business. I think probably the last thing, I know I said I'd be short, so I am going to wrap up now, is that we are out there all the time having conversations with stakeholders like colleges, universities, local authorities, to shape local policy where we can, and also to make sure that we know what's happening as well, about issues that will impact on our members. So we have a sort of monthly newsletter. We've got social media channels as well. And they're a really good way of keeping up to date with local knowledge. So I'll probably just finish with saying, have a look on Facebook, because your local area will have a local page on Facebook. Have a look on Twitter if you go on Twitter, or formerly known as Twitter, now called X. Again, you'll have a local account on there. So mine is FSB East Anglia. But for yours, you can reach out to your development manager or to Ness, and she'll tell you what your local social media accounts are to follow. And then your development manager will have a LinkedIn account as well. Make sure you follow them, because again, that's a really good way of staying up to date with local latest news and information that you need to help grow your business. Bit of an overview. We're busy people, I can tell you that now.
Yeah, there's an awful lot that you do, Candy. I know that, and thank you so much for giving that well, overview, as I say, because there's so much. But do you know what I love? I love the fact that as well as shaping national policy and supporting small businesses across the country, you've got your ear to the ground locally, and you're able to help and support local businesses with local issues, and that is just fantastic. You know,
absolutely, and we grow those relationships with sort of key decision makers as well. So if we don't know the answer, we'll know someone to reach out to find that answer for you.
Yeah, that is really, really brilliant to have that local connection. And as I like to say, we are the big voice for small businesses. So fantastic. Thank you so much. Rajan, I know you want to have a brief go through with the Legal Hub.
Indeed, indeed. Thank you very much again, Ness. If I just share screens. Hoping everyone can see the screen there. For
Yep,
people.
perfect.
Yes, excellent. So for those of you that haven't gone to the Legal Hub in a while, it's changed. Made it a little bit easier, a little bit quicker to be able to get all of your information. So this would be your home screen. It welcomes you every time. You've got a lovely dashboard at the top there, which holds your favorites. So in your hub, as you download documents, it automatically saves them to your favorites. So if you're going to be looking at, for example, contracts, it means that you'll be able to go straight to your favorites, get back to that contract and crack on and use it. Now, what you've also got here at the bottom is a little bit easier. So you've got your legal and business hub resources, your debt recovery, and your business helpline. So the long and short is, do I want to do it myself? Do I have a debt recovery issue? Or do I just need to speak to someone? The number on the right, 24/7, 365. So whatever your business is, whether you're closing your nightclub at 4 o'clock in the morning and you've had a health and safety issue, or you've had some sort of issue that evening, pick up the phone. Just dial the number, get in contact with them, take the advice they're going to give you. What I wanted to do, though, was actually look at that legal hub that's there. So the first one on there, it makes it a lot easier, as I mentioned, because when you do click it, there you go. Gives you everything that you would need to go. So whether it's employment, whether it's the contracts that we're going to be looking at shortly, whether it's cybersecurity, which is now becoming really, really prevalent, and we're working in the Southwest with a number of cyber resilience companies, really, so that we can assist and give a further and additional help on that. Health and safety, all of these factors are going to be of your everyday. But what we've done is broken it down. And for those of you in the devolved nations, you've got Northern Ireland there, you've got Scotland, and I think you've got Wales as well. So the idea behind this is to try and get you to what you want as quickly as possible. So if we were to just go into contracts and trading, as you will see there, it actually gives you a nice list of documents straight off. So it gives you a whole load of documents, all that can be downloadable there. You've also noticed here that there's a little star. The reason for that is that's turned into a favorite because I've downloaded it already. So as I say, it does remember what you do, tries to make it easier for you, and I'll show you in a second where your favorites lie. On the right-hand side, you can actually see it's got policies, got guides, letters, and then again, indeed, contracts. And you have the option of using this the search tab up here for exactly what you're looking for. So if we were to say policies, it's automatically just given us every policy that's available. So you got the acceptable policy use, anti-bribery, so on and so forth. If we were to change it, it will change it as it goes, as you can see. So it is very, very quick. It makes life a lot easier. What I encourage people to do, though, is play around with this hub. This hub is there for you to get stuff that you probably didn't even know you needed. Use the contact numbers that we have to get the advice you need. Register with FSB Insurance and make sure that they can make sure that you're legally compliant with all your insurances, but also with your business needs as well. So these are the documents, as I mentioned there. The dashboard is at the top, right in the middle. You click that in, and it gives you your favorites straight away. So everything you've ever done. So contract of employment with a privacy. If you want to just download it again, just download it. There is no limit to how many times you can download it through. And for those of you that have never done this already, the document gives you a guide. It guides you through everything that you would need. Highlights it in yellow where you need to make notes. Highlights it in red where you need to insert. So the concept behind it is very simple. The beauty about it is that this makes you legally compliant. This isn't a contract that Google has conjured up from somewhere in the United States or from Angola or anywhere else. The legally bindingness of it is UK law, which is what you need. At the end of the day, even if you're working with other countries in the world, you need to be compliant with us before you can be compliant with them. So you've got that dashboard there. You've got book a call. You can do it on whatever particular service you have, or you can actually instantly do a live chat. The live chat is a great, great tool, especially if you want to here and now. As it states, hi there, I'm the answer bot. Yeah, what do you need? The following on. And what you do is you just click and go, and it starts giving you the advice. And what it will do is assess and actually get you through to the department if that's what you need. So, as I say, use this hub. If you've got the app, it makes it even quicker. So it's in the palm of your hand or on your tablet. But the factor is this resource is there for you to use right the way through. It can only be used by you, no one else. There's no one else can enter. So your favorites will remain as your favorites. But what we want to do is be in a position that you guys, as business owners, start looking around, start having a fumble around, because there's an awful lot in there to help you get to the next level of where you want to go. Whatever that part of the dream is, whether it is, as I mentioned earlier, just to stay sustainable and stay in business, whether it's a case you want to grow, whether it's a case you want to, take over the world. The factor remains that you're going to need to do it legally. Factor remains you're going to need to do it compliantly. So what we do is we back you up with everything that you need for that. And as I mentioned earlier, if it's a case that it's not in, you don't have the certification or you don't have the qualifications, take the courses, take the training on and use yourself, upskill yourself over the next, 3 to 6 months, that this time next year, you're going to be in a far better position than you are at the moment. So I hope that helped. I hope that everyone does go on it. What I was going to lastly mention is on the left-hand side, you can see your quick find, your resources, and your business tools. So they're all drop downs. What they're trying to do is give you the resources you want as quickly as possible and as instantly as possible. So again, contracts, you can get in there from many different angles, but the factor is we want you to use them. We want you to make sure that you remain compliant. That way you will be in a position to actually ascertain and remain in business as well. I hope that was useful. And again, I will put my details into the box. So any questions that you may have, I'll be more than happy to share. Thanks very much, Ness, and I'll stop sharing now.
Thank you so much, Rajan. And that was, I know, a whistle-stop tour, but it certainly gave us a flavour of what's there. And there's so much there, isn't there? Absolutely. I love the 24/7 legal advice. If you wake at 3 a.m, you're panicking, somebody there to talk to. It's like having a legal and an HR department at your fingertips, isn't it, really?
Well, people call us the bodyguard for their business.
Yes.
And that there is no truer word. And remember, your membership with FSB is not just the one business. You can be a serial entrepreneur. You can have your hand in a number of different pies. One membership will cover them all. It means that you can get legal help on all of them. You can get HR support on all of them, or even a case of just a new free business bank account for them. All available just under the one umbrella.
Yeah, there is so much, and we've only had an hour to kind of give you a little bit of an overview, really. But as we've all said, if you've got any queries, you want to get back to us, we've got a few questions in the chat box, which we'll go through quickly now. But we're all available to help you as well. So let's have a quick look at the questions, and if there's anything that you desperately want to ask and you haven't been able to, please get back to one of us, and we'll come back to you straight away. Somebody has asked us, how many members do the FSB have?
So we've currently got a shade over 150,000 members.
Wow.
That's nationwide. That includes Scotland, Ireland, and Wales as well.
Right, which is why we have such a big influence, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, in all honesty, we value the membership because the more the members, the bigger the voice. It's as simple as that.
Yeah, absolutely. Fantastic. Somebody had asked, but although you did answer, I'll just reiterate, is the service offered by James and his team available as part of membership fee, or is there an additional cost? No, it's absolutely
that is part of the membership. So
yeah, part of the membership, no additional cost.
Yeah, what we generally, when we explain and go through the membership or present the membership, we use a term called right of membership. This is a right of membership.
Right.
You don't need to register for it. You automatically gain all the legal help, all the tax investigation help. The things that you need to register for, as I said, is the FSB insurance, and that's just putting in a renewal date and any other notes you so wish. But other than that, the rest of them would be add-ons and additionals as and when. And some of them would have a charge. Some of them, as the business bank account, would be free of charge. So
absolutely. Brilliant. We have a question about insurance, actually. Do you need to have main insurance cover with FSB cover?
So depends what you mean by main insurance cover. We offer every business cover that you would need. If you can imagine, FSB is another broker, as simple as that. But the beauty you have is, one, they've been around for in excess of 30 years of experience and connections. So what they're able to generally do is not only just look at what you're looking for as an insurance policy, but also look at your indemnities. Are they too high? Are you overly insured? Because we all know, especially with everything that's happened over the last 2 to 3 years, a lot of members have overly insured themselves to make sure nothing falls out of bed. Well, that means that you've got a very high premium and you're paying something that you don't really need. So they're in a position to do an evaluation for you, to analyze what you've got, where you've got it, and come back to you with solutions or opportunities alternative to what you have at the moment. If you were to go in with FSB insurance, then it'll be like any other insurance policy. There'll be terms and conditions. The coverage will be accurate, though. That's what I would say.
Okay, that's fantastic. Thank you. One last question that we've got on here is somebody's heard on an FSB webinar yesterday that we've got a new arrangement with a bank.
Yes, we do indeed. So we have always had what we would call our banking opportunity or presentation, which is with the Co-op Bank. And we would consider Co-op to be a high street bank as opposed to a digital, because they still do have branches out there and their affiliation with the Co-op, with the post office. But what we did do is we launched a new bank account that's available for all business owners that are members of FSB. It's Cash Plus, which is a virtual bank. It's an online. The turnaround is far quicker. I think it's instantaneous. You actually, when you finish the application, you get an account number and a sort code straight away. The main benefit that Cash Plus are offering, granted, it's free for 2 years, so there is no bank charges. There's no monthly fee for them for the first 2 years. However, they also give you a 1% cash back on everything that you do and you use through that account. So it has a maximum of up to £1,000 a month. So you can get up to £12,000 back every year, dependent. So if you are a wholesaler or something, your booker's account's going to love you. But yeah, that's the new proposition that we've got. We literally launched it on Friday of last week. Hence why it's starting to seep through. We're waiting for collateral to come through. But it means that we now have two different types of bank account that we can offer. So your box standard high street bank, which is the co-op, we know that they're stringent. We know they're a lot more risk averse than any other bank out there. But that means the quality of their service is very, very high. Just means that we have a little bit longer. The normal turnaround is about 5 to 7 days for a co-op bank account to be set up, for you to have all the details. As I say, Cash Plus are trying to jump the queue on that. And they have been around since 1985 as well. So they've been around a while or two. But yeah, so they'll be able to turn it around very quick, regardless of you already being a customer of Cash Plus or a new customer. They'll still be able to give you the preferential rates that FSB are offering.
Okay, fantastic. So that's breaking news, really, isn't it? Brand new breaking news. We unfortunately have run out of time, as we always do on this session. Somebody really quickly asked about renewal date. I'm not sure if they mean FSB renewal date.
Yeah, so renewal dates, we would basically, we have a renewals department. We would be looking at really looking at everyone to renew on an annual basis as normal. We'll be sending out letters normally about 3 months before your renewal date, and then again a month before. So it's all polite reminders that it's there. We don't want to harass, we don't want to preach. But yeah, so renewal dates, as I said, we also give you a cooling off period. So for example, if you have missed your renewal date and you're in month 13 or 14, just give us a call. Give us a call. We can get you set back up, keeping the same membership number and getting all the benefits and services back available to you.
Well, fantastic. If you do have any other questions, please do get in touch. I'd really like to thank our panelists, James, Candy, Rajan, and Beth, for all her help and support. And we hope to see you at some more of our FSB events shortly. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, everyone.